Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Coffee Connections Insights with Innovators. My name is Seth Weiner, and I am your Rocktioneer. Very excited about today's episode. I've got some great friends. I'm really looking forward to sharing with you their mission, what they're doing, and everything in between. We've got the Fox Thetare Institute, Leigh Burns and Aly Grubb. I'm going to tell you about them in just a second. For those of you first tuning in, this is Coffee Connections. We're talking to Atlanta nonprofits. Tuesdays and Thursdays right here. If you're on our YouTube, please subscribe. Go ahead and get the notification, subscribe, all that sort of stuff. You can always find us on Facebook and at yourrocktioneer.com. Today, our guests. Well, even before I talk about our guests, anyone that's tuning in, I do want to let everyone know we're thinking about you. The Texas and everyone's just affected by the hurricane. So I hope everyone's safe and that you get the support you need. So I just want to put that out there because it is, as we're doing this, let's not forget what's going on right now. Okay, so today, the Fox Thetare Institute. Now, Leigh Burns has 17 years of historic preservation planning and community development experience with different state agencies. She's previously worked as the Education and Outreach Coordinator for the Georgia Main Street Program of the Georgia Department of Community Affairs. She's very, very dialed into the community of our theaters all across the state of Georgia, the arts, etc. So I'm really excited to share Leigh Burns with you all. And then Aly Grubb with the Fox Thetare is here. She's the marketing director. She's very skilled in the whole nonprofit organizations, event planning, publicity, having fun at concerts. She knows how to do that. And she's got a very strong media marketing presence and she's, I should tell you all, she is a graduate from the University of South Carolina. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let me go ahead and bring to you both Aly and Leah.
Hey, y'all.
Hi.
Why, hello. I'll let you both go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit more. I'm going to take myself out of the video for a second. Tell us about, oh, wait a second. I always forget. I'm like so excited to get to the guests that I always forget to ask. This is Coffee Connections. I mean, I've got my coffee, which is a matching coffee mug. It's my to-go mug, Conscious Alliance. I try to make sure I'm, matching
That's
today.
That's cheating. That looks like tea to me.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, it's tea. Yeah, I will. It's honesty. But what do you have? Aly, what mug do you have there?
I thought, why not bust out the old for Fox's sake? And I think, Leigh, we did not plan this, but Leigh's got a little something similar. Should we toast, Leigh?
Cheers, Aly.
Cheers.
It must be a rite of passage for the Fox Thetare to have these mugs in some capacity.
I think so. Like you, Seth, we too are not drinking coffee.
I don't know if I should ask what you're drinking then.
Just don't. Just don't. It's
Right,
2020. There's no more rules.
But in drinking coffee, though, when you drink coffee, are you dark roast, light roast? What's your preference?
All the way, dark.
Dark with a lot of cream. Sorry.
Iced or hot?
Hot in the morning, iced in the afternoon.
Same
Hot
here.
before noon, iced afternoon.
Same.
All right. Final question: French press or drip?
Neither. Who's got the time?
French press on Saturday and Sunday.
Neither.
Well,
No,
what
I
else
don't
is
get
there? If
fancy.
you don't do French press or drip, what are you doing?
I don't know. Well, maybe I don't know what drip is. I just
Drip,
do the
like
coffee.
your
Yeah,
percolator
drip,
kind of deal.
Drip.
I'm a French press girl on Saturday and Sunday.
All right.
Time.
I'll aspire to that.
So now, would you both please share about your mission? Tell us about the Fox Thetare Institute. What your mission is, what you all do for the state, etc.
Sure. I mean, we're really lucky at the Fox. Our mission is to preserve and share the Fox Thetare, and really and truly, it's an honor to do that every day. A lot of people, and Aly's going to talk a little bit about what people think of when they come to the Fox, but for us, just the fact that, Save the Fox campaign, some 50 years almost later, we're still preserving and sharing this magnificent landmark. I mean, that's what we do.
Yeah, I mean, I think just to speak a little bit about how the Institute even came to be, many, many moons ago, before my time at the Fox, other historic theaters would call us and and say, hey, who did your seats, or can you provide a vendor contact for your historic neon, and how do we change our lights while also still preserving our building? You guys are doing this right, obviously. And those calls just kept coming in, and we thought, hey, maybe there is something to formalizing this and properly serving this network of theaters that is looking to us as an example of not only how to preserve our building, but to stay modern and relevant. So in addition to preserving and share the Fox, I think our goal is to inspire a sense of awe every time somebody comes and walks into our building. And we try to do that too through preservation. We still try to help these guys make an impact.
That's awesome. Can you talk a little bit about what impact you all have been able to make, throughout these years?
Well, I'll kick it off a little bit and just talk about FTI and the impact that we've had. I mean, since we began in 2008, we've now given out about $1.8 million in grants statewide. And we provide technical assistance to performing arts centers and theaters and cultural centers all over the state. We just make sure that we're engaged in everything, not just the brick and mortar of the building, but the operation of the building. And, the Institute also has amazing outreach and educational programs, Fox in a Box, our Friend of the Fox membership program, and even Fox at the Fox, where we have students come here. So we're just involved in all kinds of outreach programs that can really reach out to the state. We also provide, like Aly was saying, technical assistance. We help those theaters find the best architects and the best contractors and the best support that they can, from anything from sourcing, the right equipment to having the right people install it. It's part of our job, and we love doing it. We also, many of you probably know about Georgia Presenters. It's a statewide group booking consortium. We have about 55 presenters around the state networked in that we help with all kinds of performing arts grants as well. So we're really lucky in that we're on the operational level, we're on the performance level, and we're also on the preservation level.
Now, with some of these theaters, like tell some of the viewers here what some of the theaters that you recently issued grants to, and what the process might be like for someone like that, and just elaborate a little bit more on what the grant situation looks like.
Yeah, there's a lot of theaters that we've worked with in multi-phases. A lot of the theaters that we support haven't been able to even open to the public since, they may have had a 40-year period of time where they've been closed. Right now, we've been working with Winterville Auditorium out in Athens, Clarke County. It was a public school auditorium that was closed for many years from a fire, and they've reopened and getting themselves kind of back up. It was kind of a hollow shell when we got involved. And places this past year like Southside Theater Guild, down in Fairburn, we helped them put a new roof on their building. Strand Theater up in Marietta, we've helped them with some ADA projects, and we just try to make sure that we're with folks from the very beginning, from the pre-planning through the actual grants and completion.
No, that's great. Now, I could speak to being at a couple of the big check ceremonies, and it's really amazing that the gratitude that you get from these theaters, but also, I mean, it's amazing what these theaters, what they are to the communities that they're in. There's so much performance that goes on there, of all types, not just music, but different community plays and whatnot. And it's such a breeding ground for wonderful things. And to the ability to give them these grants. I mean, what someone might say the difference makes of some nice seating, it really does make a difference. And people, I mean, you see, I would imagine, correct me if I'm wrong, but the attendance probably picks up at these venues, these theaters, with these changes that come in.
Definitely. I mean, I think when you make it more comfortable, sound alone has changed so much in venues, and even, you can hardly keep up with that kind of capacity, even technology, people run their lights and sound from an iPad at the back of an auditorium built in 1928. Just to see that kind of, happening with all the technology is really exciting, especially from somebody like myself who's really has experience in historic preservation, to see the updates to these buildings, and not to mention green changes and how much money switching to LED, power has saved these buildings, and some, reap rewards of $400 to $500 a month that they can put into education programs, outreach, even more artists. So that's really fun too.
No, that's really an interesting thing. So when someone sees, like, I could see on some level, like, someone's like, why are you guys giving so much money to a theater so they can get like an LED lighting marquee? But it's not just about like this beautiful modern marquee. They can save that money and they can reappropriate it or whatnot. They can redirect those funds to such other programs. That's amazing.
Absolutely. Summer camps. I mean, it can go back into so many different things. And we even here at the Fox, we've been through our own LED conversions, and the money that's put back into our operation. I mean, those are things that when people come here to the Fox, they probably don't think about a lot, but they really do make a big impact.
Mm-hmm. And I think to Leigh's point, I mean, the renovations to the theater itself is one thing, but the residual effects that an operational theater can have on a community, on some of these rural towns' main streets. I mean, they really are the anchor. They're the heartbeat of these communities. And if they're operational and they're healthy, then so are the surrounding restaurants, the hotels, the small local businesses and shops. They depend on these theaters to be that magnet, to be an economic driver for their town. So I think, the Fox was once threatened in the 70s, and we know certainly we're at a time now, even through this pandemic, where we're threatened again, and so are these smaller theaters. And it's more important than ever to try to find ways to help everybody stay open, not just for the theaters lifespan, but for everybody around them that suffers as well.
Yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. So, I mean, if you think about most of these theaters are on a strip, and they might have 2-3 restaurants, couple bars. Now, if they have one show a week, that's business for all those businesses. Because you're going to get a drink before or after the show. You're going to get dinner. You're going to make a night out. And
that's right.
That is amazing. So, it's hard to think about all that, but that's where that's where the impact really lies.
Yeah, we read, for every dollar small venues generate in ticket sales, area restaurants, hotels, and retail establishments realize like $12 of revenue. So it really does. It trickles down, and everybody benefits. And we're at a point now. Before the pandemic, our biggest challenge, I think, was just raising awareness about all the good that we do outside of our core Fox business, which is providing incredible programming and all the wonderful artists that grace our stage. That's one thing, but what we do outside of that business is really important. But now during the pandemic, the biggest challenge is just figuring out how to continue helping these theaters, because we're at a extinction level with some of these smaller venues. And I know the Fox has joined forces as an independent theater ourselves with NEVA. I want to talk a little bit about, which is the National Independent Venues Association. And oddly, this pandemic, I think, has really shined a light on some of these theaters that have always threatened, but especially now, because things are just so dire and things are really threatening right now. So we've joined forces to help raise awareness and get some of our state reps and legislators and decision makers to make sure that they provide that financial assistance to these independent venues that are the lifeblood, like we mentioned, to so many communities and hardworking Georgians across our state.
Yeah, no, that's amazing, and that organization has picked up. Now, I believe there was some movement on that this week with Schumann. What was his name? You know what I'm talking about, or no? Schumer, yeah.
Yes. I mean, luckily they're organized. They've made a huge impact. Klobuchar is a co-signer of the Save Our Stages restart bill, and I think it's getting attention. Bigger artists are coming forward and championing the bill, try to get these venues included in the next relief package so that they can operate, and we in turn can continue to financially support our theater networks that have depended on grants and now federal assistance to remain open. There's just this enormous ecosystem around these theaters that are dependent on them, or the whole house of cards falls.
Yeah. Now, Leigh, what's going on with some of these theaters that you've all worked with it through these years? How are they surviving right now with no income? And mind you, I'm just going to make an assumption that they're still paying rent, right?
Well, obviously, most of them are hopefully self-owned, or the buildings are owned by cities or counties that are working with them on, keeping them, in situations where they're solid. I will say that there's a few that did a lot of virtual camps over the summer for kids and made some small funding there. A few of them are starting to have weddings and special events. Even more of them are starting to do movies again in a limited capacity, but they have to often run multiple shows because of the numbers that can be fulfilled. So many are starting to reopen to limited capacity, but of course, there's a lot of them that won't be able to reopen for quite some time. And we're just kind of trying to give them as much support as we can and as much information about grants that they can get, support that they can get, how to reach out to legislative representation and get their voices heard. But absolutely, I mean, there's a lot of them that in very small rural parts of our state that will really struggle to reopen.
Now, before we move forward, you mentioned Fox in the Box.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you showed me Fox in a Cup. What is Fox? Can you talk more about Fox in a Box?
Yeah, Fox in a Box is our outreach program. It's been around at the Fox for many years, and it's grades K through 5. And we have this really fabulous exhibit that we take out that discusses, we open it up. It's kind of a mock theater. It has all kinds of interactive activities for kids, and we talk a lot about social history in Atlanta, architecture, historic preservation, and anything and everything that kind of really revolves around our life here at the Fox Theater. So we bring a little bit of the Fox Theater out to schools, and it's just a joy for us with the pandemic. One of the most recent developments with Fox in a Box that we're really thrilled about is that we're going to be looking at taking the program virtual for the first time. The program's really only so far been featured in Metro Atlanta, but when we go virtual, we'll be able to offer it in other counties. And we've received 2 great grants, one from AT&T, huge shout out to them for a $25,000 grant, and then $6,000 from Georgia Council for the Arts. So we're really lucky in that we're going to be able to transfer this information and virtually share it around the state.
That's wonderful. Mm-hmm. Now, you mentioned you got these grants. So yeah. I imagine you get grants, you give grants. Mm-hmm. Where does most of your funding come from? Grants or from individual donors like you out there?
Yeah, so any funding that we go after for grants, it's only for education. We in the past have done grants from Fulton County, City of Atlanta, Georgia Council. We're really lucky that we have these partners that will help us fund our education. But for general funds for Fox Thetare Institute, that comes from ticket sales. So every time a patron comes and buys a ticket, has a glass of wine, gets some food, spends some money on merch, and then also fees, those go to the Fox Thetare Institute.
Wow. Okay. So every time I go to see a concert at the Fox,
yep,
I'm supporting other theaters.
That's right.
Absolutely. And not just ours, but almost, sometimes, I would say up to 60 theaters so far that we've given grants to over the past 5 years. So yeah, you inadvertently haven't just supported the Fox, you supported hometown theaters for a lot of folks.
Well, now I feel a lot better about the amount of money I've spent on drinks there. Well, what about fundraising? Like, how have you, outside of these amazing revenue generators that you already have in place, like you mentioned, how else are you raising money with individual donors?
Aly, you want to take that on a little bit? Talk about partnerships or anything with that?
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody's had to get real creative with how they leverage, their current and past corporate partners and what programming we can do. I mean, right now we're working on we have announced an organ concert that we will be presenting live through our Fox channels this Friday at 8. And there's going to be a fundraising component to that after the fact. So I think it's just getting creative with whatever programming you're able to do right now. We sit in on a lot of town halls, virtual town halls with other theaters, and just kind of brainstorm and get ideas about what everybody's doing and try to adopt them ourselves. So in addition to that, I mean, anything and everything's on the table. We're just exploring all options, but we're excited about the organ concert coming up. Our resident organist, Ken Double, was able to get a gracious sponsor from the Theater Organ Society to produce the pre-recorded concert, and WABE is going to re-air it this Sunday at 10 p.m. So you'll get 2 times to tune in, and we've incorporated some messaging on how you can, if you so wish to, donate back to the Fox, you can.
They can probably go right here to foxtheater.org, right?
That's right.
So I want to get a little bit more about the challenges of fundraising now, but in the past, how did you, what other type of fundraising you did? I mean, I know for one fact, I was involved with the Revival, which was a great fundraiser. It was the first time concert event for that of this magnitude for the Fox Thetare Institute, correct? Where we had mobile bidding. We auctioned off a guitar off the stage and several other things as well. Talk a little bit about Revival. Talk a little bit about the plans there. What was done in the past, and then we'll shift to the future.
Aly, you want to take that a little bit?
Sure.
I'll talk about last year just a minute. And then, one of the great things about Revival's show was that it really happened organically. We worked internally with staff, but we also had so many partners from Georgia presenters around the state that reached out and helped support the show by bringing people to the concert, donating items for the silent auction to the concert. We had a concert committee that was represented by partners in music around our state, not just Atlanta based. And of course, there was so many Georgia artists, but it was just, for us, an amazing experience to kind of bring together partnerships that we had, for more than 10 years at that point, and kind of just celebrate that evening. I'll let Aly talk a little bit about the funding we were able to raise and some of the music parts of that.
Well, I do think Seth's being a little humble here, because I think truly without his voice and our auctioneer extraordinaire, we would never have been able to raise the amount of money we did during that concert. I mean, we were able to just mobilize so many different tactics, from the live auction, pre-show, and the marquee club with memorabilia we were able to have donated and pulled from our own archives, to the to the live auction on stage that you were instrumental in helping us pull that off. And I think, through that example, a lot of our theater partners said, hey, this is what has been the missing piece. I think it's, preservation and fundraising is not the sexiest thing, but certainly when you tie it to rock and roll, and you give it and you amplify it, and you just kind of give it a purpose and give it a place to expand, I think it just really elevates the whole mission. So we never would have raised over $100,000, which we did that night. That again goes back to help these theaters in our network. We never would have gotten that without this model that you helped us implement. So it's my hope that we continue to do so every year, and we raise the bar every year and fine tune it. But certainly, I think our partners, if we did anything, our partners saw how they can adopt that same model and do something similar to raise money.
Oh, well,
so thank you, Seth.
Thank you, Seth.
It was a true pleasure. Trust me. I mean, I who else can say they got to open for REM No, sorry,
Few.
3/4 REM.
Right.
3/4
Yeah.
REM. You know.
Few, very few.
So yeah, so revival obviously can't happen in 2020. Well, there's a lot that can't happen. What are there other things you're looking at doing this year to fundraise out that's outside of the box? No, pun intended there.
I think, we're lots of exciting conversations coming across everybody's desks. Nothing firmed up yet, but I think sky's the limit, and everybody, this is such new, just such new waters people are trying to navigate, that we're all just trying to make it work. How feasible these can be, whether it's a streamed concert, or whatever. I think we're all just trying to figure it out. So certainly we hope to have something this year or early next. So, and certainly when we're back open, we want to get a live revival back in the building.
Revive the revival.
Exactly.
Well, before we move on, is there anything else you all would like to share about the Fox Thetare Institute?
I will say that we're working on a few other things. If you go to our YouTube channel, we have a great collections talk and presentation by Michelle Sheff that we did when the pandemic kind of started. We've been trying to do a lot of outreach virtually. We're also working on a self-guided architectural tour guide of the outside the building. And we're just continually trying to think of experiences for our patrons to have until we can reopen the auditorium. And that's so important to us. And of course, social media is still very active, and Aly and her team do a tremendous job on that. We've been doing trivia during the summer on Tuesdays. We've had a lot of great input from that. And, we just really want to continue to tell the Fox story. And we love hearing from everybody.
And let's not forget, if you haven't seen the new Marquee Club, it is just gorgeous. Like, really nice job. You all did I know that was a lot of planning and a lot of work, but that VIP lounge is really great. And when the Fox does reopen, I highly encourage people to check that out.
Yes, welcome.
Well, I want to thank you both for your time and your efforts and everything you do. We started with the video. I pulled a little bit off of your website, and I encourage people to go to the website to see the full video. And the music. I know someone was asking in the comments what band that was. That was Great Peacock. That's off their new album. They are a band from our region, and they actually played at the Marquee Club before. So, a little tie in there.
Full circle.
Yeah, full circle, But we close every episode of Coffee Connections with you, our guests, getting to choose our next guest. And I'm curious if you have anyone you recommend to be on Coffee Connections.
So for me, I chose Chris Escobar. Chris is just an amazing partner to Fox Thetare Institute and to the Fox Theater. As you know, he runs the Plaza Theater and the Atlanta Film Festival. He continually kind of steps up for us and helps us promote film at the Fox. But also, many of you probably had some great experiences at the drive-in movie with him this summer out at Plaza. And if you haven't, I would encourage you. So Chris Escobar is my suggestion.
Yeah, I love Chris, and I second that. I would also say, Matt Weiss and Rohit Malhotra from the Center for Civic Innovation. That organization is doing amazing, incredible things for Atlanta and have been for some time. They have recently applied for a Google grant, quite a big Google grant to reinvest in Black women-owned businesses in Atlanta. So I think right now they're in the public voting phase of that Google grant, and we certainly voted for them. They've done some work with us, some facilitations for our organization, and they're doing great things for Atlanta. So that would be my suggestion.
That's a good suggestion. That's so funny. I didn't even think about Matt, but Matt, we go way back when he was in Entropy.
Everybody
as a
knows
concert
Matt.
promoter.
Yeah,
everyone knows.
Right.
But I'm talking like the late '90s. Just to show the gray in my life, right?
Yep.
Very cool. Well, I will reach out to you all so we can connect, and hopefully they'll join us here. Before we close, is there anything else you want to share?
Thanks Thanks so much, Seth, for this opportunity. We love talking about the Fox as much as we love experiencing the shows. I think Aly and I both, our hearts are in sharing it. So thank you for this opportunity.
Yeah, thank you all. I can't wait to get back, back into the theater. It's, I mean, even if you don't live in Atlanta, the Fox is just an experience, and it just walking in there. No one has to be on stage. You're going to feel excited and feel good. I miss that feeling though of walking into the venue, getting ushered to your seat. I mean, it brings a tear to my eye. I'm ready for shows again.
Yeah, me too.
All right. Well, folks, please check out the foxtheater.org. You can see that down there. For Fox's sake, I love it. I can't believe you both had a similar mug. That's just amazing. I look forward to seeing you all. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you. We're going to take off next week because I'm going to be doing the Benefit Auctioneer Summit. I'm going to be going to a virtual auctioneer conference so I can help my clients with more ideas and connections through the auction industry. But till then, we'll be back. I'll share coffee connections. You can see all of our past episodes at yourauctioneer.com. Thank you all again. Ladies, have a lovely day, and we'll see you all right back here.